A released WWE star responds to negative backstage reports. Plus, an ex-WWE star made a shock NXT return last night, and a TNA World title match has been added to NXT Battleground. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling news right now. Still reeling from the latest bout of WWE releases. One name that came up in amongst them was NXT's Riley Osborne. Now, recently we'd seen Riley move from NXT to part of Evolve. And sources close to Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer say in a report that that move, according to his sources, factored into that release.
Yeah, Alvarez said on Wrestling Observer Live, one of the big things was there are people that they want to go and help out at Evolve, and I was told that he did not want to go to Evolve, and he made it very well known. Now, I reported on this quote in an article on our website, and I remember thinking, oh, that does sound very bad actually backstage, like a big clash of ideas. One person really doesn't want to go to Evolve, one person really does want that person to go to Evolve. And it turns out, obviously there's two sides to every story, but now that, you know, the superstar formerly known as Riley Osborne has mentioned this, Tom, the situation's not as clear-cut, I would say.
No, Josh Terry responded on Twitter saying, I worked the last set of Evolve tapings the day after my wife, Blair Davenport / B. Priestley, was released. When I was told by head coach on the phone call that night that I can have it off tomorrow if I need time with my wife, as we had to pull out of the house that we were 2 weeks from closing on, all I had to do was tell him, yeah, I'd like a day just to be with her. I was the first person in that building the next day and was commended on my professionalism. I will not have my work ethic questioned when I was busting my ass off in rehab to return, which I knew the return would have been on Evolve. Not everything you read online is true. There's been a couple of stories since these releases that the wrestlers involved have kicked back at people. I think there was a few reports around Shotzi not committing as much to the training regimen, to which Shotzi has obviously fired back on that, as has Cora Jade. So there's been a few stories like this popping up.
Yeah, and I totally understand why. I think it's a good response there from Riley Osborne or Josh Terry as well, because it's managed to kind of defend himself without singling anybody out or anything, even though you'd really, really want to. I've seen a lot of people criticizing Alvarez himself for saying that quote, but I think the thing to remember there is that Brian Alvarez has received this information from a source, and that person, it's a few people have noticed this online and said, like, there's some sources who seem pretty keen on kind of kicking a bit of dirt on wrestlers' names after they've been released from WWE.
Rubbishing them as they go.
Which is like a double kick in the teeth, because not only have you lost your job, but also now someone's saying, well, they weren't even that nice anyway. And you think, well, what's that about then? So I'm hesitant to blame Alvarez himself necessarily, but I'm glad that Josh Terry's come out and said, no, that's unequivocally untrue. Now,
before this most recent round of releases, there was a few that were released late last year. One of those is B. Priestley, Blair Davenport. You're going to hear an exclusive conversation with B. Priestley in the next couple of days on the Cultaholic podcast feed, in which B is going to open up about her time in WWE and the day of her release, and more importantly, what's coming up next. It was an interview that we recorded before this past week's cut. So I think that's worth putting out there. But I'm really excited for you to hear it. I think B's got a really bright future ahead of her as well, which surprises nobody. The world is her oyster once more. You'll hear that on Cultaholic in the next few days. Meanwhile, update on Liv Morgan for you. As one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions of WWE, she's been off filming Bad Lieutenant Tokyo. Fightful have told us when we can expect her back.
Yeah, they've said, we've been told this won't be a situation of Liv Morgan missing months of action as a result. As of now, the wrap date for her is May 16th, with her planned return to the US on May 17th. We've not learned when she'll return to WWE TV. She will miss at minimum one more episode of Raw as things stand.
I think a few people thought she might be gone for much longer than this. But,
I was confused too. I was fooled by that as well, Tom, because the reports were like she's in this major role and everything. I'm not trying to disparage the role she's been given, but clearly it's one that she's managed to get a lot of her filming out the way early, and now she can get back to wrestling. That's that explains why they didn't take the belt off her and Raquel, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it. I think the women's tag team titles have been through enough turmoil to have another bout of vacant title-itis pushed upon that belt.
And she's a great, she's a great part of Raw, and she's always entertaining when she's on screen. So it'll be nice to have her back.
It'll be nice to have her back. Meanwhile, on NXT, we have a new number one contender for Obafemi's NXT title. But before we get into that, let's talk about that Battle Royal last night. Timothy Thatcher back in an NXT ring for the first time since the pandemic.
Yes.
Nice to see Timmy. He popped up on the graphic for it, so we went, Timothy Thatcher.
I remember thinking, surely not, it can't be, but it was indeed.
Yeah, and we didn't even say his name, and he appeared. But there was another surprise. There was another name who turned up, ex-WWE type, who we had no idea was going to be there.
No, and it was none other than Elijah, known, of course, in WWE as Elias, Walk with Elias, in fact. He made his return on Tuesday with a surprise appearance at NXT, entering last in the Battle Royal to determine the next challenger for the NXT Championship. The crowd initially, and understandably, because it's WWE, they went, Elias. But then he appeared, he was very much under his TNA name, his Elijah name.
Yeah, or he signed, and that chant became "Welcome Home" instead, which I thought was lovely. He asked, who wants to walk with Elijah? And then he walked with many people from the NXT locker room. Did well. He got Trick Williams out the match with a little bit of assistance from a Joe Hendry flavoured distraction.
Yes, clearly like the next step in the feud between Hendry and Trick there. But it's interesting to see Elijah get involved there as well. He and Hendry have history, Tom. They have history in North Wrestling.
Well, this is it. They had a match at North Wrestling Thunderstruck 2 in which they were enemies and then they became friends, and they've kind of had this kinship in TNA, and wrestling has put me in this position where whenever I see two main level lads just getting along, I'm waiting for one to turn on the other.
No.
I just feel like at any point Elijah's going to wrap a guitar around Joe's head.
No, I don't
Give
want
him a guitar necklace.
No, I don't want that at all.
I don't want that, but I think that's going to happen.
Elijah revealed at that North show that he supported Sunderland, and it was definitely true. And not just a reason to rile up the fans. I think it was true. Yeah, because
of course it is, because Sunderland's a massive club.
I was up on I was up on the thing, and I think I was the only person who I stood up and went, yeah. I had too many drinks. My friend went, sit down.
Sit down, you're embarrassing us. But
I do not want to John the Jobber.
You're not even the real mum.
Yeah.
But it was not Elijah's night, unfortunately. He did get hoyed out of the ring by Sean Spears. In the end, it was Miles Bourne that picked up the dub from the No Quarter Catch Group. We're getting Miles Bourne versus Obafemi. I would not have put money on Miles Bourne winning that Battle Royal.
No, but I love it as a booking decision. Not only is he very promising in the ring and everything, the comparisons to Randy Orton aren't just because he looks a bit like him. He wrestles it very smoothly as well. He's very, very good.
Yeah.
But also it feeds into his storyline because he was in the Battle Royal, was talking to his stablemates Tavion Heights and Ren Sinclair and said, are you not excited for this Battle Royal? It's going to be so good. And they were like, I don't know if Charlie's going to like this. What's Charlie going to say now? He's bloody won the thing. He's got a title shot. I don't know why Charlie would be annoyed, but we fill in our own gaps sometimes in NXT.
I think sometimes you have to. So Obafemi versus Miles Bourne for the TNA title at NXT Battleground. We're also going to get Joe Hendry defending the TNA World title at Battleground against Trick Williams.
Now, they could do something very interesting here. And I'm not saying that I ever want Joe Hendry to lose. By default, I usually want him to win his matches. But unless it's against Elijah, who's a Sunderland fan. But this is very interesting indeed. It was announced last night that match will take place at Battleground, and a contract signing is scheduled for next Tuesday's episode of NXT. Whenever I hear Joe Hendry contract signing, I think he'll bring his guitar. It feels like he might bring his guitar.
Yeah.
You don't think he'll do a bit of a sing-song?
Do a little song for Trick Willie?
Maybe.
I feel like if Trick Willie's going to take the title off Joe Hendry, it should be in real enemy territory. It should be in TNA.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah, that is very good.
You do it in front of a hostile, an anti-Trick Williams TNA crowd. You know, in the heart. Like you do it in Scotland on a TNA show.
You do it on Arthur's Seat.
Oh, you do it on Arthur's Seat.
Is that what it's called? The hill that's in all of his music videos.
The hill that's in the background of the I Believe in Joe Hendry video. It's. Do you know what? It's one of those hills when you get it closer, you think, I could climb that. And you get like a tenth of the way up it and you go, nah, that doesn't work for me, brother. So Joe and Trick back and forth as of late. This is leading to this match at TNA Battleground. Also, Julia, as a result, Jordynne Grace, as a result of beating Julia last night in what was essentially a 15-minute G1 Classic match, just for reasons.
They just went for it, yeah.
Jeez, it was amazing.
Fair play to them.
Seek out that main event from last night, Jordynne Grace and Julia. But Grace picking up the dub, Grace and Stephanie Vacour for the women's title at Battleground as well.
Yes, and they had a face-off to close out the show. I think that, if the Julia match is anything to go by, then this one could also be very good. I can't get my... I'm just too excited for it. I can't get my words out. It should be very good indeed.
It should be very good indeed.
I just forgot how to talk then.
That was very exciting.
I feel like an eccentric old lord in England. Oh, hello.
Very, very good indeed. Very good. Wrestling can be many splendid things. You know that, don't you? It can be G1 Classic style wrestling. It can be battle royals. It can be high-flying action. Or it can be Shakespeare, as it is this weekend for Wrestling Resurgence's Bardcore event, where they are reenacting Shakespeare in the style of professional wrestling.
How did I not know about this stuff?
That's a thing.
What?
It stars winner of Super Strong Style 16, man like DeReese, and a cast of other characters. Find out more about it when I chatted to co-founder of Resurgence, Sam West, about the event this weekend. You can check that out on the podcast feed right now. Wrestling and Shakespeare.
I love man like DeReese and Shakespeare. How can I not have known about this?
The stars are aligning this weekend in the UK.
And yes, congrats to man like DeReese for winning Super Strong Style 16.
Oh, a phenomenal final against Leon Slater as well.
Is that who we get?
Yeah.
Oh no! When will these boys ever stop clashing
They
and just
will
be
never
friends
stop.
again? Okay.
Like two star-crossed lovers, Shakespeare. For the very latest wrestling news at any time, you can check out Cultaholic.com. Stay safe and love you. Bye.